All right, welcome back. It's Tuesday. I hope day one went well. So now we are jumping into text structure. Again, this should all be a review. I'm just going over this just to ensure that you are okay at home with the things I'm assigning. And if you need to pause this to maybe look at some of the anchor charts that I've created, you have that ability to do so. So the 5 main types of text structure. I want to pull popsicle sticks and start calling your names. But they are description, chronological order, which can sometimes be called sequence. Those are synonyms. Compare and contrast. Remember, compare is the same. Contrast is different. Cause and effect, and problem and solution. I broke this lesson up into 2 days because there's just a lot to talk about, and I feel like I talk enough on these videos. So today we are going to do description, chronological order, and compare and contrast. Tomorrow we will review these 3 and then go over cause and effect and problem and solution. So description has the word pretty much describe in it, okay? So it's going to be any type of text that just describes something. So it could be like an all about the author page in the back of a book that just describes about the author. It can be, on the Dewey webpage. If you've been on our school's website, we have an About Us page where it just talks about all about Dewey and who we are and what we do. Some signal words. So this is when you have to be a detective and you have to look for these words like, for example, specifically, for instance, and then in addition. Now I know right now we're only really focusing on reading. If we were in the classroom, we would also be focusing on writing each of these text structures. So I did include the graphic organizer we would use for writing. So it's going to be the spider web. So let's say, I know there's a book I've done with LLI, all about bats or something like that. So you would put bats in the middle, and then you would put what they eat, where they sleep, how they travel with their families, what color they are, features of bats that are cool, some fun facts. So your topic would go in the middle, and then everything that describes that topic goes around it. Description is pretty common in informational text. The things that we've read about so far, the Islamic civilizations and Middle Ages, was all description except when we were in the timelines. Then that is going to lead me to my next one. Chronological order, which is also called sequence. On Moby Max, I think it says sequential order. Sequential and chronological just mean going in number order, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so your signal words for chronological order are going to be your normal transition words that we have talked about in writing. First, second, next, last, then, before, finally. And then your graphic organizer here is just going to be what happened first, what happened second, what happened third. Biography uses chronological order. It talks about the biography. We read it as class. The biography of Harriet Tubman talked about at the beginning her life, where she was born. Remember, they didn't know her actual birthday. They said it was either 1860 or 1861. Then it talked about her childhood. She got hit in the head with that thing. Next, it talked about how she was sold somewhere else away from her family. Then it talks about how she got married and then how they escaped. That went in order, and then at the end of the book, obviously, because it went in order, the book ended with her death, okay? So chronological order is just things going in order. Recipes, which are on NWEA, they actually are chronological order, and that one's really easy to figure out because 1, heat oven. 2, gather supplies. 3, spray baking dish with Pam or butter or something like that. The steps are all right there. Recipes has been showing up on NWEA a lot lately. So that is going to be chronological order. Compare and contrast, which we talked about earlier. Comparing means figuring out how they're the same. Contrasting means figuring out how they are different. Your clue words or signal words to be a detective are going to be similar, alike, both, different, unlike, just like, on the other hand. Comparing and contrasting, we did one in class together. It was like alligators and crocodiles. Your clue, your big hint that's going to like make your light bulb go off will be when you realize that there's more than one topic. If there's just one topic, probably not compare contrast. You need to have at least 2 topics. Sometimes as you get into the older grades or the harder texts, like we would be getting into in May and June, hopefully we get to get into those when we get back, but they will have like 3 topics and they're comparing and contrasting. So even though this Venn diagram, right, it shows like, let's say it's alligators, crocodiles, and the same, sometimes you'll have a 3rd circle down here. And that is going to make text a little more complex. You will definitely see it in 5th grade, I'm sure. And then once you see it in 5th grade, you start to see it a lot more regularly. So now that we've done these 3 on MobyMax, you are going to have these 3 assigned. Description, chronological, or sequential. Remember, they're the same. And compare and contrast. That will be on MobyMax today. Tomorrow, you will still have these 3 as review, but we will get into the last 2, which is cause and effect, problem and solution. I'm not going to ask you today if you have any questions like I did on yesterday's video. You know what to do if you have questions. Good luck.